What is up, everybody? It is your boy Farai. Thank you once again for tuning in to another video, man. We're gonna be doing another question and answer, so stick around for that. Let's get it. First question by Jared says, how do you find your own sound mixing wise as a rapper? Alright, so that is a good question. My best advice is to actually follow what some of the famous type beat producers have done. A lot of the guys that have become successful, I think Metro Boomin, for example, said that he started off making beat remakes and then ended up just kind of making his own sound. And I think you can apply that the same when it comes to rapping and singing and that kind of thing. Is learn how the greats do it. So for example, follow guys like me and all the other guys that do how to sound like videos, and then take from that and then learn all the theory and then learn how to kind of execute it in terms of your own style. Now, how do you find your own style? I think find firstly the type of beat that you like rapping over. So for me, for example, I like rapping over punk rap beats that have guitar samples in them, because that for me works. You know what I mean? When you rapping over beats that you feel most comfortable with, so for example, it might be a Drake type beat that you like rapping over, it's going to sound amazing. You know what I mean? This is also advice for those who want to get better sounding mixes, is try not to force your vocals over beats that just don't work, because then it's going to become so hard to mix something that just sonically doesn't sound good. It never will sound as good as it can if you were really comfortable and kind of blending in with that beat. So it'll take a while. For some people it takes a couple of years, for some people it takes a couple of weeks. I mean, you can see guys like Lil Tecca have now blown up. They just kind of have that sound, you know what I mean? But just say Lil Tecca was trying to rap over like Metro Boomin type beats, it would just not work, you know what I mean? So I think a good starting point is to, for example, what I would do if I was you looking for a certain sound is rap over a different type beat every few days, you know what I mean? So try rap over a tropical Canadian dancehall type beat, and then try a Metro Boomin type beat, and then try a whatever Lil Tecca type beat. You get what I'm saying? Is just keep trying different sounds out, and the one that you feel most comfortable with, or the one that gets the most views on SoundCloud or whatever, keep elevating and creating on that sound. It's always a constant process, man. I mean, guys like Lil Uzi, I think that's the reason why they haven't, or Uzi hasn't dropped a tape, as well as Cardi hasn't dropped an official tape in so long, is because I'm sure these guys just rap over like 1,000 different beats every few weeks, and just can't really find what they want. And they know what they want, but it just takes a while to figure it out, you know what I mean? So yeah, man. Don't be defined by that set sound. I think that's what I was trying to make the point about Uzi is, maybe people feel that Uzi has to make this type of music, but he may be on a whole different wave already, but he's just trying to really finalize that. So I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, man. NVDXR asks, do those reflection filter things work? This is referring to the acoustic treatment video. So yeah, you're probably talking about those things that would sit behind the microphone. So in my opinion, I don't know if those will work. I haven't owned one before, but in my opinion, the way sound travels is that you're going to need to treat 4 corners. You know what I mean? Even maybe the 5th. We've got panels on the roof here. But point being is that maybe that'll work, but it probably won't. Maybe if you bought that and then you had something behind you, then it could work, because then you're killing off the major reflections. So if you were going to buy one of those, buy that and then put a blanket behind you or something like that, or record against the curtain or something, so that you're killing off these direct reflections that are bouncing back and forth. Because behind the microphone's not really going to pick up much, but in front is really what's going on. So I don't understand why those things are over here but not over here. Do you get what I'm saying? So I don't know, I've never tried one. Maybe someone in the comment section that has one can testify if they work or not. But yeah, I don't use them. I would personally just vouch for treating a wall or something and creating a space for you to record. So yeah, keep saving and then just invest in that rather. Jaden says, I hear the plug type beats in the background. Haha, yeah, man. I don't know, I just really like using plug type beats for background music. Sometimes if I'm just like cleaning up or something, I'll put on some plug type beats. So I've talked to SpookJamie, who does all the background beats for this channel, or I just asked him if I could use his beats, and he said it's cool. So check out SpookJamie's channel. He's got some really cool plug type beats. Shout out Plug and B, shout out Lincoln. Let's get it. Oni GNC says, what are your computer specs like CPU, RAM? Alright, so I'm using the i9-9900 CPU with a RX 480 graphics card with a I don't know, whatever. I just got a motherboard, a Z393. I don't know, dude. I just got a computer. I got people to custom build it. My best advice always to people is I don't recommend buying a laptop. Just buy a desktop and cart it around if you have to. But you're gonna get more of a bang for your buck when when you are buying a solid computer, man. Laptops, you're really paying for portability, right? Because it costs more to make smaller components, so or get a second-hand MacBook or whatever. But I recommend getting a desktop, man. They're just so powerful these days that you can buy like a Walmart gaming PC and like have the full-on FL Studio experience. You get what I'm saying? And then just upgrade the RAM. But yeah, I've got 8 GB RAM. I've got a decent computer. It's nice, man. It's nice to have a fast computer. I'm actually using 2 computers nowadays, so I use my old rig to actually just record all of FL Studio's audio on my audio interfaces. I've got one that is recording one that's just connected to my main computer, and then a second one that I connect via ADAT light pipe, which is fully digital, so I can retain the exact quality that I'm hearing and then put those on the videos for you guys to hear, even though YouTube does destroy the quality. So yeah, I know that's like nothing to do with the computer specs, but yeah, that's how I'm rocking these days. Yeah, don't buy a laptop, buy a desktop gang. And yeah, it's quite up. Truth Hurts asks, yeah bro, thank you, but where do I put the panels? Okay, so this is regarding the acoustic treatment video I did as well. So when you're mixing, the best places to put acoustic panels are going to be on your first reflection point. So it's going to be left and right of where you're sitting. I definitely recommend to go and watch the Rode Studio Rescue video series. There's a video series Rode microphones did a while ago, and they kind of cover how to treat small bedrooms and that kind of thing. And that for me is what kind of sparked my kind of love for acoustics and that kind of thing. So yeah, check that out. It's great stuff. Jay Chisaki asks, do you think Waves SSL is just as good as the native V6 SSL? So yeah, man, I am a big fan of all the SSL plugins. Do I like the Waves one over the V6? I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, if I only had one SSL type plugin, I would still use it. I don't care really what it is, because I just love the workability of it. I think the cool thing about all of these different plugins and all of these different manufacturers making these plugins is that all of these programming guys all have a little bit of a different take on how to assess the SSL vibe. I don't think any plugin is really going to get exactly what the real stuff is doing. Like, I'm still wanting to buy a real SSL console strip, but for me the differences between the V6, which is the native SSL, and then the Waves SSL is that I feel that the native one is much cleaner because it is emulating a different style of console strip, meaning I think it's emulating the 9000 series, whereby the Waves is emulating the 4000 series, I think, or the 6000, I don't know. But each iteration of the same channel strip had a slightly different sound to it. So the 9000, I think, was kind of later into the SSL stage, where they had really refined and cleaned up the sound of SSL. So there was a lot less distortion going on, a lot more clean sounding filters and EQs and that kind of thing. So the Waves one is definitely a lot more dirty, but also still critical since it's a plugin. And it definitely has its sound. Like, for example, I might use the SSL one on a kick drum or something because I want a more dirty sound, whereas I might use the native one on a vocal because I want a cleaner sound. You get what I'm saying? So me, I own about, I don't know how many I own. I own the Acoustica SSL, I own the native SSL, I own the Waves SSL, which doesn't work on this computer. I can only use it on Pro Tools. I own the I don't know what else I own SSL wise, but yeah, I got a lot of them. I just got the Slate bundle, so I'm gonna start using Slate, and I'll tell you how it sounds. But just try all of them out and see which ones you like on specific things. That's more so how I'm using it. I think it's pretty cool that there are so many iterations of different plugins, because it allows us to really kind of mix up our sound and get really cool results. So I don't know, I'll use anyone really. Worldstar17 says, do you record your left and right backing separately from the main vocal, or do you just duplicate them? So again, I will always say this, I love to re-record doubles because it creates a sense of 3D depth way more than just copy pasting. I think the only time I would copy paste doubles is if I was going to do some sort of really aggressive effect on those duplicated tracks, because if you just duplicate them, they're kind of gonna phase a little bit. They're not going to sound that cool. They're just going to kind of sound a bit louder. So if I was going to do, for example, some heavy distortion on one track and then maybe some extreme flanging or reverb on the other track, then you could get a really cool result, right? Because then it's more of an effect, more so than doubling. But if you want to just have that cool R&B doubling sound, re-record. If you're going to be doing aggressive effects, then just duplicate them. But I'm always a fan of re-recording and then even adding cool effects to them. So hopefully that answers your question. One Song Then Dip, which is a cool name, asks, you don't compress the other layered vocals, background vocals, etc. I don't see any compressing. I only see compressing on the main. I guess. So yeah, I don't sometimes I will record doubles in a way where I don't need to compress them. So I don't really compress them much because I just kind of duck them back in level and allow them to sound natural in the background. But if they were going to be louder in the mix, then I will compress them because I don't want things to pop out of the mix per se. I want everything to sound kind of grounded. So no, I don't compress my doubles, only if I really need to. If I will compress ad-libs, because for example, if you do ad-libs where you shout really loud on one part and then kind of whisper on the next part, you are going to have to find common ground. So either you can manually adjust the volumes of each of those ad-libs, or you could just compress them. But for the most part, I'm not really doing much compression on them. I know some of the pros do. Rock mixers will slam 1176s to 20 dB and then push the level up so they kind of stick out in the mix. I should try that sometime, but for the most part, I just enjoy not compressing them. It's really just a preference thing. You can do as you please. But yeah, good assessment. Music Page asks, those plugins are garbage. The stock plugins sound way better, but decent tutorial. I think that was regarding one of the vocal effects I did a while back that was using some free VSTs, because some people had asked me to make a free VST template. And yeah, I think the only time plugins sound trash, stock plugins definitely sound good. The only time stock plugins sound trash is when the coding has been done badly, meaning there's something going wrong in the plugin, or if the plugin is actually crashing your DAW, then a plugin is considered trash. But if it's usable, it's not really trash in my opinion. But yeah, who knows, man. Jordan says, when making a full song, do you leave the beat unmastered and master the whole track after you recorded vocals, or do you master the beat, then bring it in the project and record vocals? So really this comes down to your workflow. On this channel, we're doing a lot of vocal mixing on 2-track instrumentals, so we are receiving already mastered beats. So what I do in that case scenario is I just turn everything down, meaning I'm going to turn the beat down by like 10-12 dB, and then I'm going to record all the vocals, and then I'm going to remaster everything by bringing the level up on the master track. But I won't do too much mastering then. But if I did have the privilege of making my own beat, right, or if somebody had brought me a session with all the instruments in it, right, and then the vocals recorded in it, that would be the better option, because that means that we as the engineer get to really make finite adjustments on each and every individual sound, right? So for example, if I feel the kick drum is a bit too loud, I can pull the kick drum down. That's the beauty of mixing like that. But what I would do then is I would group all of those instruments and tracks into a subgroup, into a bus, or whatever you want to call it, and then I'll do some basic mastering on there, and then I'll master the full mix. But mastering, what I really mean is maybe a little bit of compression or something. So it does give you more option to do things. But yeah, when it comes to 2 tracks, you're going to have to remaster the whole mix again in some way. Definitely don't do too much. Generally, I'll do things like maybe 1 to 2 dB treble boosts, maybe a little bit of a cut here and there. I'm not doing too much, but yeah. What was the second part of this? But yeah, what I actually used to do was I used to make my beats from scratch, and then I would actually master them fully, and then I would then record the vocals and just add a limit at the end. That was what I used to do. There's so many ways to do it, man. Try what works best for you. But if you can have the highest quality, then definitely do it that way, like I said, with the stems within the session. But a lot of people run out of CPU, so it's easier to actually export the mix. What you could also do is you could make your beat, not add any mastering processing, export the WAV file in the highest possible quality, meaning 24-bit plus bit depth, and then WAV format, and then import it into your track, into your session with the vocals, record your vocals, and then actually do a full mastering. That's how it's traditionally done, but many options. FTW asks, my AKG P120 mic has a low cut feature on the mic. Should I use it, or should I just keep the sound flat? So yeah, that is a pretty interesting question. It really comes down to what sounds best, okay? In my opinion, I like to use on this Neumann microphone, I like to use the high cut filter somewhere over here. There, I don't know where it is, but yeah, I like to use it because then I can kind of get a bit closer to the microphone. Or what you could do is just use a high pass in your DAW. It doesn't really matter. It really comes down to which one sounds better. Personally, I like to use the high cuts on my voice. But for example, if there was a singer in, maybe like a female, I might just disable that function so that I can have a voice sound warmer. And for example, some songs your voice might want to sound a bit fuller. Some songs they might want to sound thinner, so you can make use of the filter. It's really just a little EQ, dipping away some of the lower frequencies. So it really depends what song you have. Rockstar Villain asks, any chances you're going to make a video on how to record on a 2-track instrumental with waves center? And I think down in the second question he had asked how do you treat 2-track instrumentals in general? And the way I do it, man, is first off, I just assess how loud it is. and then I drop the level of it. That's the first thing I'll always worry about, is just how loud I want the instrumental to be, because if I'm going to be recording my vocals, I don't want to have to boost my volume of the vocal to compete with the beat. I really want things to kind of sit even and then have headroom later on to do some mastering. So that's the first thing I do, is drop the level. Second thing, sometimes even before I actually start recording, is I'll do some basic treatment on the beat itself. Sometimes beats lack in, for example, treble. A lot of the times producers are making the 808s way louder than the treble, and then you've kind of got this unbalanced beat, and that can really mess you up when you actually start mixing the track, because then you've been listening to this beat in this way for so long, and then you might not mix the vocals to your full capability, because now you've kind of fooled yourself into thinking that beat was perfectly mixed, and then you listen to like a pro song and then it doesn't sound as good. You know what I mean? So what I like to do is I like to really fix up the beat. I'll listen to a reference song. I might listen to like a Wiz Khalifa track or something, because his mixes always sound level. I'll try and treat the beat, make it nice and polished, and then I'll start recording my vocals, and then I'll do the final adjustments on that. So that's pretty much what I do. I use a mid-side EQ sometimes to maybe boost some of the instruments, maybe cut some of the instruments, maybe just fix up the kick drums, add a bit of compression maybe, but not much really, because the more you do, the kind of worse it sounds. Sometimes it sounds really good, like for example, I think if I can remember the Honcho Drac vocal effect I did a while back, and the Party Next Door vocal effect I did a while back, I absolutely boosted the heck out of the beat, and it sounded really good. The beat like really opened up, so sometimes it works. There is no right answer, just try it out and see what happens.